but you're going nowhere. Don't blame me for what you've done, 'cause I know that you were having fun.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast, exposing the real estate secrets your agent doesn't want you to know. Here's your host, Tom Clary.
Well, don't you just walk away. That's when I'll say.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast. I'm Tom Clary. I'm your host. I'm a real estate agent here in the beautiful state of California, Los Angeles to be exact. I'm here with my forever buddy, my co-host, my Ron Bruno. Ron, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right, Tom.
Good. How are you doing?
All right.
What's going on with you?
I'm doing better.
You're doing better.
I'm doing better. I've come to the realization, my cubbies.
You've come to terms.
Yes, I've come to terms. I've gone through all the phases of denial.
I was
anger.
I was
and
actually
all of
listening to the podcast on the way here today.
I was too.
And I was like, wow, he really sounds depressed.
Yeah.
This guy really is taking this way too personally.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, and it's so funny. Like I was watching, so I'm wearing my I guess it's my Dodgers shirt because it's a Cubs shirt.
Technically a Dodgers shirt.
So Karen,
it has the Dodgers on it.
My beautiful wife, and thoughtful wife, she gave me this shirt, and it was before the game was going. So it's the NLCS, so the National League Championship Series,
right?
And it's the Cubs in LA, and LA shellacked my poor little Cubbies.
They did.
So it's the only thing I own that actually has Dodgers on it. So yeah. I'm rooting for the National League, and I'm rooting for the home team, which is Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'm actually frightened by how much this is becoming a sports podcast. I never expected this to be so much conversation. I couldn't get anything further away from an interest of mine.
I'm a guy, and there's beer on tap.
I'm a guy, and I like beer, and I don't listen to sports. I don't watch sports. I just never made that.
It's a good balance.
But I know that I'm unusual. I know that that's not something that's a usual thing.
Yeah. I mean, but you're like a film guy, right? So
I'm a film guy. So
we can have a balance with film.
I
we
can
don't
totally
have to
geek out about who the director of
sports.
photography on Ferris Bueller's Day Off was, but that's Tak Fujimoto, by the way. And just so you know, and but I don't know who played second base for the Red Sox in 1978.
Neither do I.
No, okay.
Nor do I care.
But I have to say that I've been for the last 48 hours caught up in IKEA hell.
Oh,
that's really where I've been at.
IKEA.
Yeah, we're trying to get my kids' room all set up. We have twins.
Yep.
So we're trying to set up a place so that they can both be sitting at different desks when they do their homework and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And actually got some bunk beds so that we can have some more room in the room. And actually I could have used our guest today's help because we were trying to move about 5 tons worth of stuff in the back of our Mazda, basically. And,
oh no! And
lifting that just from the car to the front door of our house is like a major undertaking. And I'm gonna name my first hernia after the two of them. I know I pulled something. But well, we got any news today?
We do actually. So it's a combination, right? So we're doing an Amazon combo.
It's an all Amazon
Amazon news day. So there were 2 pieces. So number 1 on the Alexa, right? So we have the Alexa briefing, daily briefing.
Our daily briefing.
And we talked about the winning city who is going to be awarded Amazon HQ2, right? So Amazon they're bidding all these different cities, right? And all these cities are bidding on being able to host the next headquarters for Amazon, right? So they're going to have 2 headquarters. They're headquartered in Seattle, and then they're looking at other cities. So Los Angeles is, in the running. So is Dallas. So is, a lot of different markets. And when we're talking about $5 billion of investment. Yeah. And 50,000 employees. Right. So massive, absolutely massive. And they're going to award it to the city next year.
Right.
And there was an article. How does that affect real estate? Right. So if you think about $5 billion worth of investment and you think of 50,000 people, obviously that is going to impact.
They got to live around there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, the article was sharing, that they were stating that home prices where Amazon came into a specific location within Seattle, home prices went up 66%.
Wow.
Within
That's
I
remarkable.
think it was like an 8-year period. And then also rents went up by 44%.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Right. So the people that are going to benefit from that obviously are going to be homeowners.
Right.
So existing homeowners who are in that particular market that gets awarded the city. I would say, and what the article says is really the people that are not going to benefit are existing renters. Right. Because the homeowners, they're going to now look at, wow, rents are really going up.
Yeah.
And, the lease is for 12 months and I get to kick them out.
Yeah.
So that's really who's going to be challenged. So,
Right.
if you're in the running and you think that your city's going to win, buy a house.
Yeah. Well, by the way, it was how many cities? It was like 200 cities or something, like 280 cities.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
But
like something.
I think like 5 are really in
I
the running.
have to say, I was enjoying watching every day on the news the groveling that each city was doing on its own,
Yes.
specific day. Even my hometown right now, Woodland Hills is trying to get Warner Center.
Warner
is
Center.
trying to get the thing. They have a big area that would be perfect for them to build something and all that. And
the Rocketdyne plant.
the old Rocketdyne plan. I was thinking to myself, it's like fingers crossed, but are they coming to? I doubt they're coming to Warner Center. I
Right.
sincerely doubt it. The chances are so minimal. But it's one of those few times where I think that the groveling of the cities and all that actually is worth with the payoff. I mean, it's one of those few times where it's like, throw money on them, do whatever you can, get it there.
Oh, absolutely. They're saying we'll rename our citizens Amazonians and we'll rename the town Amazon Town or Amazonville or whatever it is.
It's like, now it's turning into some sort of Japanese sci-fi thing where like there's only one company that owns the entire city of Tokyo, and and it's like everybody is, and we're all of the power is going to these 3 or 4 different large companies, and and the power is real. It's a real power.
And you have Jeff Bezos, the CEO, doing a really horrible dub, and he's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, he just like he looks like he could be that maniacal guy. Like he's just one dark suit away from being the bad guy in some movie.
Yeah, and
he comes off benign right now, but just trust me, like one day
he could be Dr. Evil.
He could have some sort of like implant on the side of his head or something like that, and come out and be like,
That's good. I like that.
And by the way, that leads us right into our next story, which is that he wants to get in your house too. He's a bad guy. He wants to get in your house.
So currently, he can hear every conversation you're having in his house, and he records it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have an Amazon Echo, Alexa, whatever it is, they actually have the ability to record. Now they use this for marketing purposes, and
and there was actually a murder case. Did you hear about this?
No.
They actually were like trying to subpoena getting the Alexa because there was a chance that it heard what happened before the person got murdered.
That's wild.
But
that's crazy. So they already can hear what's going on in your house. Now Amazon wants to see everything that's going on in your house. By the way,
that was a kind of an aspect of this whole Amazon key thing that nobody really was talking about on the news, and you pointed it out to me. I didn't even know it.
I did.
But part of it is they want to put a camera in your house.
Well, it's because I look at things like Buzz News, and
Buzz,
anything that's
my
conspiracy
favorite, all the news that isn't fit to print.
Exactly, everything that shows up on my Apple News.
Right.
But it was kind of an interesting. I
was digging deeper into it. Now, that being said, look, it's not like they're putting a camera in every room or they're.
Well, first of all, we should talk about what they did. So
Amazon
released this new product when they were having their earnings announcement called Amazon Key, and what it allows you to do is it creates a ability for an Amazon package delivery person to open and have access to your house, right? So through some sort of a keypad, something, and for $250, you're able to, and for Amazon Prime subscribers only, you can have your Amazon person open the door, drop off your package, and then they close it. And you're able to actually view that whole transaction. Right? So they record when they drop the package off. They have the time. You actually can see the video of the person dropping it off. And it's supposed to have this great convenience. Right? And I think for some people, it might be appealing, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling about this, but go ahead.
So people that, let's say they're extremely busy and they may be out of town, right? And they don't want to, back up with all these deliveries and they're buying everything in sight, and they,
they're sitting on the chaise lounge outside of their, by the pool of their house kind of thing, and they want to send deliveries to their house while they're not there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like the ultimate form of lazy. Like now you don't even have to open the door. Your Amazon person can literally open the door for you, drop off your package, close the door.
Right.
I mean, what is next? They're going to ask you to walk the dog while they're doing it. So, I think.
Oh, by the way, no. You obviously didn't watch the little video that they released along with it.
No, I didn't.
That's
watch the
part
video.
of it.
Oh,
it's not just about their Amazon guy showing up and doing a little blah blah blah.
Right.
You can actually have it so that you can open the door for someone remotely. So if you have a dog walker, they could come in and get your dog.
Oh, that's part of it.
And that's all part of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And like the big thing on their advertisement was that like this girl is her parents are coming to visit, and her house is a mess, or because she's this young millennial girl or whatever kind of thing.
Right.
So she sends in a cleaning crew basically with that. So
wow.
Look, with the camera thing. Now, what's interesting about that is that, of course, everybody's going to initially go, "Oh, there's a camera in the house. Oh my God, and I'm yeah, that's that. I get it, but it's pointed at the door.
Right.
It's not like it's some sort of in your bedroom or in your bathroom or in that kind of thing. Let's not go crazy, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're just and you're right. Amazon owns that, but I can understand why Amazon would want to own that.
Sure.
Right? Because if their guy comes in and slips and falls, and there's some sort of liability issue, then they've got it on video and they can tell, like, oh no, the guy didn't really slip and fall. It was just a whatever.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, ultimately, Amazon wants to control everything you buy for the house.
Right.
That is their goal, right? So anything you consume via audio, anything that you consume books, anything that you consume food in your mouth, or any item in the house, they want to control all of that.
to Z.
And if they have big data that can show from what people listen to and what they look like and where things are set up in the house, they now can be better marketers to you.
Of course. But here's the thing. I don't see the alarmism appropriate here for this.
Right.
Now, I'm going to get to something that was a really stealthy one that nobody realized, but I'll tell you all about that in a second. But I can easily see this as something that I'm going to, eventually in 5 to 10 years, I'll just give up and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get to the point where it's just like, everything about, like, I didn't believe that I'd get packages on my front door in a day 10 years ago.
Right.
I never thought that.
Yeah.
Do you know how easy it was for me to just fall back into the warm water and just, accept it? Like, I'm just going to, and I didn't think that I was going to be, getting DVDs in the mail and then just sending them back. And you know what I mean? It's like people incorporate these things. And if you look on Facebook and the amount of information that you give to it every single day, I literally saw somebody who took a quiz, like one of those quizzes on Facebook and posted it. Do you know how much information you just pumped into the machine, the marketing machine?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, look, I think that we're just slowly but surely privacy is going to be a thing of the past.
Right.
I mean, in the way that we knew it. I think that it's people are just too easily giving it up. It's just, it's going out the window. So at some point it's like, well, why are we even, if you're just going to go on Facebook and tell everybody your political affiliation, your sexual preference, your whatever, and whatever, then at some point there are no secrets.
True.
True. So funny. You ever see the movie Sneakers?
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, too many secrets. That was the password. Too many secrets. They didn't think that they thought that somebody was going to have to come from the outside and steal the secrets, and it's really we're going to give them up freely.
Absolutely.
It's just now, what was interesting is that this was something that everybody didn't realize. It was something that was caught like wildfire, and nobody realized it. Do you know what? Okay, have you ever heard of a term called geocaching?
Yes.
Okay. So geocaching, just for everybody who doesn't know, and please, I'm not an expert on it or whatever, right? But basically, it's about capturing information all around in different ways, right? And like, let's say I'm in here and I take a picture of this room we're in, right? Well, then it kind of goes up into the cloud or goes, whatever, and somebody consolidates that, right? So if I do this and then somebody else does the room next door and somebody else does the room next door and somebody does the room next door, then they eventually have what is a model of the inside of this building.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people didn't realize this, but one of the biggest geocaching apps of the last 2 years or whatever like that, guess what it was?
Snapchat? No?
Pokemon.
I can totally see that.
Pokemon Go had in its terms and conditions that basically they could take, because remember, you're just looking around and it's supposed to be interacting with your, wherever you were.
Yeah.
Well, you were going around and you were basically videotaping the room you're in.
Yep.
So basically, they have these now models of almost every building, and they just if there was a building that they wanted to get the inside of, all they did was put Pokemon inside. And there's like, oh, I'm going to go catch a Pokemon. And you go into that, whatever, the shopping mall, the supermarket, the whatever, and get inside. And that's why I was thinking about...
CIA, Fort Knox.
Well, no, but the guy who used to, who was a big part of it, was part of like some sort of intelligence agency.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you do a little research on it, it's really kind of scary.
Wow, that's super scary.
But what's interesting is that, I mean, I was thinking about that in terms of like Matterport. And, now 3D models are a huge thing with real estate.
Right.
People getting 3D models made of their homes. Well, I think there's a huge secondary market for these companies because they can then sell that information to law enforcement, to intelligence agencies and all that. You're basically, by selling your home and having one of those 3D models, you're basically, I mean, it doesn't matter to you because you're probably moving on to the next one, but it matters to your buyers. Right?
Yep.
But they could basically sell that information to somebody else.
They could also see what groceries you have on the counter, right?
Of course.
Amazon happened to buy Whole Foods, right?
Right.
So now they know your shopping habits and where you're getting the groceries, the bags, and everything else. So,
well, yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, we have a really cool guest with us today. It's Ted Cotter from Inside Moves Relocation Services. Ted has been in the moving business for a pretty long time, 1975. Is that right?
Just finished my 42nd summer.
Wow. And you started at Beacon's Van Lines, right?
It was a college job. I was at Pierce College, and a bunch of my fraternity brothers got jobs at Beacon's.
There you go.
And when they were smart enough to stay in school and move on, I stayed. And third summer, I became a regular guy there and kind of worked my way through the system, learned it.
Now you have your own company, so it's
absolutely
definitely, I think, worthwhile.
It's a great place to learn.
It
was at that point in time, Beacons was huge in the valley. It was kind of interesting because they had the Motorola radios, which is a lot like us having cell phones now.
Right.
They were way ahead of the communication curve.
Oh, interesting. Like the CB radio kind of stuff?
No. Very similar. It was just like the police have.
Oh, okay.
Motorola. It's just same thing. Same thing.
Yeah.
But the ability that they could dispatch something within 15 minutes, was something that nobody else could do except for your fire department, your ambulance and things like that. So you could call.
And sometimes moving is an emergency. I need to get it done. Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for the invitation. Absolutely.
So, what we do with all of our first-time guests, and you kind of started talking about it, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about, like, how did you? So you started you were at Pierce. You were kind of I was for a summer job or something like that.
I was at Pierce College, and it was kind of interesting. We got that big break during the summer, and so it's an opportunity for you to make some money to get through the year, do whatever you want to do. Great job, because the fact at the fraternity house, everybody worked at the same time, everybody was off at the same time, and everybody got paid at the same time. So we were with everybody all the time. I started off on the trucks. It was kind of funny. I remember the day I was hired when my fraternity brothers brought me in, and he said, look, wear the biggest pair of shoes you have. I was really small then. I was only like 4'10". My nickname was Mini Surfer in the fraternity. As I got called in, the dispatcher handed me a shirt that was way too big and said, don't tell anybody that you've never moved a piece of furniture in your life. And it just kind of started from there.
Right.
I've never been afraid of hard work. To me, I like work. I like seeing things done. And one of the neat things about moving is you have a start, a beginning, and a finish of every day.
Sure.
So every day at the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah, it's literally like a project has been done. You can say, oh, I'm done with that one. Now move on to the next one.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like those folks who, I think we're kind of similar along that lines. If I was on a conveyor belt, not conveyor belt, assembly line, you know what I mean, with the same widget every day, I just wouldn't, I couldn't last.
I'd never be able to drive a desk.
Yeah.
Even though I'm doing that more so now than I've ever done in the past, because, I'm no longer on the trucks like I used to be, unless we're very busy, and then occasionally I'll come and supervise. But I'm more at the end of what it takes to get the trucks to you.
Right.
The sales end, taking care of the customers, finding out what their needs are, and helping walking them through the whole transition. which is, it's kind of crazy because moving is one of those things. It's one of those top 5 things. They say death, divorce, moving. It's it's not like you're buying the Ferrari and you're driving off with it and you go, bitchin', this is what I got. It's something you got to do.
Yeah.
And there is an easy way, of doing it. You just have to be smart about what you're doing.
Sure. Now, before we move on to kind of like the kind of nuts and bolts of the process, so I've been kind of doing some research and looking at your website and kind of where you came from. I mean, you really kind of you start off as a helper.
Yeah, the way it works typically, what'll happen is you'll start off as a casual laborer, and this is a guy that's not used every day.
Okay.
And at that point, what's happening is when you're looking at somebody on the trucks as opposed to getting a casual laborer, a new guy, you want to see if the guy has the aptitude to work.
Right.
This is something right now that's very hard.
So it's kind of like an
market.
audition almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go from that though. When I was working at Beacons, you start off as a casual, which was like a summer guy. Back then we were union, and it was actually a really great environment. You start off as casual, become a regular. You would go from there to be a packer, learn how to pack the stuff in boxes and put the stuff in.
Yeah.
The next step would be a driver. Right. Then you would become a foreman. I went the next step and actually became a shop steward, which was like an advocate for the employees against the company.
Oh, wow.
So I had a lot of background in that. Worked for Beacons for 17 years.
Yeah.
Great environment, amazing environment. Back then, when I left them 17 years ago, I had 6 weeks paid vacation, 26 sick and paid holidays. That's something that you're not going to get now unless you're in Europe.
Yeah, right.
Okay. It was, the pay was good. It was union. Beacons kind of came in, and it's kind of the irony of the whole situation was I was actually still, my deal with Beacons was, okay, I will work for you anytime you want, but I need to be off early on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I stayed in school at Pierce.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
It was kind of funny around about the time when they were getting rid of the union and turning the thing into a contractor relationship around 1990. I was actually taking a business management course. One of the required readings was how Carnegie broke the steel unions back east.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember I'm reading through this book and I'm just going, son of a bitch.
Yeah, wait a minute.
They're doing this to us.
Right.
And at that point in time, we had the union was strong in the Southern California. We had a union membership of about 4,000 members. They were mostly the bigger shops and everything. And I can remember standing up at the union hall going, guys, we're in chapter 3.
Yeah.
You don't get it together, it's going to all be over. And shortly after that, I can remember in 1990, they brought everybody in. They said, this is the deal. We're getting rid of the union. You guys are going to all become contractors. You're now going to own your own trucks. You're going to take care of it. And this was all an effort for them to get out from underneath the trucks, the insurance and all that good stuff. It was, good for them, but it was kind of bad for the public. Right. And the reason why is it kind of destroyed the training.
Well, and so the reason I was actually bringing this up is because it from hearing that, and your story was that there was a level of apprenticeship that I don't think actually exists anymore. Am I wrong? I mean,
absolutely.
When I think of calling a mover now, it's sort of like whoever they could pick up on the at Home Depot. I know that there's a higher level than that, but what I'm saying.
It depends on the organization that you're working with. It really does. I mean, are you working with an organization that just wants to give you meat and feet? Yeah. Or are you working with somebody that cares about what's happening? I'm a little bit different in that I give people my cell phone number, so if there's a problem, they can always call me. Yeah. If I send meat and feed out to your job, I'm going to hear about it. Right. And also too, it's really weird. It's so sad that so many people don't do in this business what they should. Yeah. I mean, with me, it's kind of funny. I talk to all different types. There's supposedly 1,200 moving companies in California. Wow. They're all regulated by the PUC, which is getting ready to change. And then there's
change how?
It's actually going to be recognized by the Consumer Affairs. I just went to a meeting on it the other night. It's going to be regulated by the Consumer Affairs people rather than the public utilities. They're going to take the transportation away from the public utilities and give it to the Consumer Affairs. Oh wow. Okay, and that's supposed to, as Governor Brown's doing. That's supposed to take place in July. I don't know what it's going to do. I mean, the California Moving and Storage was as soon as they heard this was going to happen, they were on it and just making sure and trying to guide what's going on. I don't know if it's going to be better. I don't know if it's going to be worse.
It'll be different though.
It's
probably
it's a good thing. The California Moving and Storage Association, they watch out for us as owners.
Right.
And because a lot of times something like this is going to be handed to somebody who has no idea what it is.
Right.
So all of a
or
sudden,
at least there's a learning curve. At least.
Well, they just they wouldn't necessarily get people from the industry to design a program.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so all of a sudden, it's not going to be a matter of a learning curve. By that time, everything's topsy-turvy.
Got it.
I mean, for instance, when they got into the deregulation and everything, back when I was with Beacons, we had a tariff that was like, you couldn't go any lower than this an hour, and then you had this top end. And then they went to nothing but a top end tariff, so everybody can charge as little as they want.
Wow.
Well, you can charge as little as you want if you want to stay in business.
Yeah.
At that point in time, it's kind of like an upside down pyramid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're a responsible mover, you know what you need to charge. You know what you got to pay your workers' comp. You got your overhead or your advertising. There is a responsible cost to charge.
Right.
Now, if you're not charging this amount of money, you've got to be taking it from one place to the other.
Yeah.
That's going to compromise your service.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I firmly believe with my guys, like I say, I'm the guy, when I work with people, I want to go home and sleep at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be worrying about something. I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. and go, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, right.
I talked to a lot of people out there, and I had a conversation with somebody I know that was working for another carrier. He, young kid, nice kid. He's a good kid, really good worker, really sharp kid. He's just had a baby. He's got the responsibility for his family, and he's working for an operation that just rapes and pillages everybody.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, how can you go home and sleep at night? And he goes, well, somebody's got to do it. And it's like, no, they don't.
No, they don't.
The problem with this industry is there's a lot of people doing that, and that's all people can remember.
Yeah.
So when they do get a whole good mover, I'm very fortunate. I've got a whole lot of really good customer retention, because once they move with us, I was taught you make it fun.
Yeah.
It's already painful. Make
Right.
it fun.
Right.
Joke with the customer, be their friend.
Yeah.
Find out what they need when you see something.
Yeah.
My guys are trained. If you're on the job and all of a sudden you start frowning or something's going on, or say you get a phone call and you're just going, like this, and it's like, hey, what's up? What's going on?
Right.
Can I help you?
Right.
It's something that's kind of been lost.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this business that have a lot of pride in what they do, and then there's a lot of people that are managing them. Not as much.
Yeah.
The CMSA has got a lot of good people that belong to it. There's over, I think there's 60 members, and that's the organization of owners. And they look out for the consumer as well as for the people that are running the business.
Right.
When people are trying to start passing weird bills and stuff like that, they're there for us, but they're also there when we have issues that we can't handle with customers.
Right.
So, and it's also, what do you want out of the industry?
Yeah.
Do you want to not sleep? Do you want to take care of customers? Something that's most rewarding to me is when a customer calls me up, and rather than the customer calling me up going, your guys were a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
They call me up and they go, you know what? These guys are really great. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Or I do a lot of senior moves. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that actually.
You took care of my mother and father.
Right.
And that's a whole different gear.
Yeah.
There's several different things of moving in the moving industry.
Yeah.
Some people are better at other things than other people.
Right.
One person might be able to move offices really well, and so they go to that.
Right.
And other people might be able to do seniors.
What kind of niche? Kind of like they have different niche
Exactly.
that they're more specialists at.
And also, too, you change what you do through the year so you can keep the guys busy all year long.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it's about keeping the families that work for you food on the table too.
Right. Well, I want to get to the senior thing a little bit later on, because it's very interesting to me. But why don't we go ahead and start with just the process? Okay. And so when someone is going to be moving, they call you up. Give us an idea of the process of how you work, in terms of getting the bids and doing all that kind of thing. Okay,
this is kind of the way you should work. If you're planning to move, you want to be planning, if you can, anywhere between a month to 3 weeks out. Okay. You want to have somebody come out and take a look at what it is. Now, if it's like a little 1-bedroom apartment, well, you might be able to do that over the phone. You just have to remember is when you're dealing with things like that, and especially with these apartments now, you have these 600-unit buildings, But sometimes it's kind of like a castle with a moat. You can't get a truck anywhere
Right.
close to.
Right.
Now, if you can provide the information, I mean, I'm going to be asking you things like, okay, your apartment, are you on the first floor, second floor? Are there stairs? Is there elevators? The information I'm going to be looking for is, yeah, I know how long it's going to take with an elevator or a flight of stairs, but how close can I get the vehicle
Yeah.
to the elevator? How far are you from the elevator to your
Yeah.
apartment? Very easy. Each apartment you pass is approximately 20 feet. That's a great way to do that over the phone. When you're in a bigger household, typically if I've got like a 2 or 3 bedroom household, I'll go out and take a look at it. Not all companies do this, but with me, again, it's really important my guys go out with the best set of information. You know, what are we getting into? Have we got, you know, in the valley here, what we have, because we do live in a valley, there's a lot of stuff that's on the flat ground, but there's a lot of stuff that's up in the hills. Well, you know what? If I pull up into your house
Yeah.
and I can't get the truck up the driveway,
Yeah.
we got a problem.
Right.
Okay. Don't like problems.
No.
Plan ahead.
Right.
So when you're getting an estimate, you want to get somebody to come out to your house because it should be important to you to see and know who you're moving with.
Right.
You know, I mean, what a concept. Do you want strangers coming over? Do you want to kind of get a feel for the
with
company?
your personal belongings, you know?
You know, it's all about giving everything due diligence. I
Right.
realize we're really busy right now, but if you're going to kind of just go send guys over, well, expect things not to go as planned.
Right.
I have how to explain this? I cater to a lot of celebrities,
Okay.
and one of our biggest problems with them is they're afraid to have us come in their house and look at what's going on.
Sure.
Just send 4 guys.
Speaking of privacy,
You can't.
all you have to do is go to Amazon. They have the.
There you go. There you go. Then as a matter of fact, it's kind of funny that we've gotten to that sometimes right now because people say, well, can't you just look at my house online and figure it out?
That's funny.
Now, you can kind of look through, but I can't get you to open your closets.
Yeah.
But anyway, where I was getting to before is get somebody out to your house. I say get 3 people, not 10. Get 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give everybody an opportunity. You can kind of look, you know, you can look through the Better Business Bureau, which is kind of dying out a little bit now. Look through Yelp. It's kind of get a feel. Your best way of referral is getting a referral from a friend.
Right.
You know, that way you kind of know what the use
Yeah,
what the product
it's
is.
and it's kind of the way it is almost with anything
Yeah,
nowadays.
absolutely.
I mean, it's like the vouch, that person vouching for you, and basically, you know, they've experienced what that experience was.
And so you're not dealing with a stranger. You're dealing with something that's already a proven product.
Yeah.
What I do is I'll come out to your house. I'll walk through your house. We have a tool called a cube sheet. What this is an inventory of your whole house. Now, this is something that was probably developed by Beacons.
Yeah.
You know, because most of the tools are in the industry. They kind of made and pushed through.
Sure.
What it does is it has everything in your house, and I also go through and kind of figure out boxes. And by that, what I do is I have a formula where I put this down and break it into weight. What I do then is I stick more formulas on it. How many guys does it take to move this much stuff?
Yeah.
And the goal is when you're filling out this form is you're trying to figure out how many guys is it going to take to get this done in 8 hours.
That sounds so much more efficient than kind of how I ever imagined it. Like I always thought, you know, look, my experiences are all from my own moves, you know, and, you know, it's generally like, I know the guy didn't come over to look at my house first. That just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when they just show up, it's kind of like, well, you got what we got. You know what I mean? There's no efficiency there. There's no like someone actually going through the time to do the math and go, okay, well then I should have 4 guys here instead of 3, or, you know, to get it done in time or whatever.
Well, if you've got, you know, it's kind of funny because sometimes guys will do quotes over the phone based on bedrooms. You know what? You can look at 50 houses and they'll all be the same square footage. They'll all be the same tract. They all have different individuals living in them. Everybody lives differently.
Yeah.
You know, one guy could just be using 1 bedroom and stuff. Another guy could have 3 families living there.
Right.
If you go out and you look at it, there's not surprises.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really important to take the time to do this. I realize this is a situation where everybody is so busy.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you care about taking the time to do this, your move's going to go better.
Sure.
You know, you're going to talk to the individual. You know, you might have a salesman come out there and go, I don't think so.
Right.
You know, you want to find out who you're moving with too.
Yeah.
You know, get referrals. A lot of times if you're talking to somebody and you don't know them, okay, well, let's get referrals.
Yeah.
Now, consequently, they are going to give you referral that's going to be positive, I would hope.
Right.
You know, if you're,
Right.
you wouldn't want to be a knucklehead and hand out a referral that's going to say, oh my God, this guy's the worst in the world.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of ways you can protect yourself. There really is. You know, one of the other things you want to be doing too is, you know, do you want us to come in and pack you, put your stuff in boxes for you?
Right.
Do you want to pack yourself? Another really good key is when you're doing the boxes, mark on the sides of the boxes where they go.
Yeah.
The reason for this is I train my guys that when they're unloading the trucks, they try to do a whole dolly load of stuff rather than having, you know, Christmas at the front door.
Yeah. If there's onesie twosie every box, every room, that's going to slow them down.
Yeah. If you don't label your boxes, you are going to have Christmas at the other end.
Right.
And you do not want to be opening up boxes at the front
Right.
door. Moving is all about planning. It's
Right.
all about consolidating.
Sure.
It's all about planning. Everything will go smooth. Something that's even more important and that we haven't really touched on here too. When you're moving, don't party the night before, please.
Yeah, really.
Be ready for the moving crew. They're not there to give you your hangover cure, okay? Not to say that you're not going to be in the mood to move.
Well, yeah, listen, I will say this, though, because I've seen it time and time again. Everybody thinks they've got enough time to pack, right? It's not necessarily about the partying. It's like they stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, putting the last stuff in the boxes, right?
We're definitely, and this kind of started during the recession, okay? We went from working 8 hours to working 12, okay?
Really?
And what happens is everybody has the intention of packing and being ready, but just through sheer exhaustion,
Yeah.
they get halfway through.
Yep.
That is the kiss of death in moving.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is if you're that ADD guy or whatever, you know what? Have the moving company pack you. When you're packing and you're packing yourself, what you want to do is take it in bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
People look at the house and they just go, "Oh, I can't do all this." Okay, start in a room, start in a wall, and work through it.
It's funny because I was just about to go into it. Like, what do you? So you're saying that in terms of, I was thinking of tips and tricks that could really kind of help the whole process along, make it more efficient. So you're saying that it starts even before you guys show up. So
Way before.
So take the really good advice is that don't take it all the elephant all at once. Basically, you're gonna start with the
bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm kind of walking you through the process, the first thing you think you're getting ready to move, well, start getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Salvation Army, trash, whatever. I mean, in an ideal situation, if you were moving, you go and do this 5 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody has that much time. But the reason why I'm saying this, the first time you're going to go through your stuff and go, oh, I can't really get it. Second time, you're a little bit better. Third time, start throwing stuff out. Fourth and fifth time, you're like,
get it out.
You don't want to be pitching stuff when it gets to the other house.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to do your spring cleaning, whatever you're taking.
As you go.
Moving on a local basis is based on the time it takes to do it.
Yeah.
The more you have, the more it
expensive
costs.
it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you sort through, and you're going to feel better too, because nobody wants all the weight on their shoulder, all this junk they don't need.
Sure. Absolutely.
I have other people I work with. If you're not this person, I have organizers and stuff that can do this. I've got a little girl I work with, Dina, and she's from New York. And she will make you get rid of stuff. In other words, it's not like, well, it's like, no, you're getting rid of this.
Yeah,
She's awesome. We actually have her over to our house to do stuff.
That's good. I might need a number.
No, she's awesome.
Wow.
She's awesome.
Ron, you had something, by the way?
Yeah. So, I had a case where it was a cross-country move, right?
Okay.
So, moving from one state to the other. So you have the people that pack it up on one side, and then there was a local mover, right? So it was the people that packed it up. They moved it from the state, got it to a staging area, which was at this particular local mover. And from there, it was delivery to the house. Right. And what was interesting is when that client got the original quote, it was based on, 2-hour drive time, what have you. What they didn't factor, and it was actually something that there was a flexibility where it could have been a Saturday morning delivery or Friday afternoon. And the movers were adamant, no, we're going to do it Friday afternoon. Well, they charged over $500 in drive time, and that went way over the quote. So if they had waited, and it's because the movers were located in City of Industry, and they were trying to move it all the way to the west side of Los Angeles in the middle of traffic. So I think the timing of that delivery also matters, because you obviously have to charge for your drive time, but I didn't know if they were just trying to eke out additional profit, but certainly didn't leave a good taste in that client's mouth.
Yeah, and that's often what the realtors do worry about too, is when they refer a mover, the last thing that the realtors leave in their mouth and a mover burns the customer, it's a problem. And that's why a lot of realtors don't like to refer them.
It is literally the last thing everybody remembers.
We're the last people to touch them.
Absolutely.
We're the last people to touch them.
Yeah, it's like a movie. What do you remember always the most? Do you always remember the end? You don't remember the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what the situation is, but there is things to remember when you're moving, especially in Southern California. We do have traffic patterns.
Right.
Okay. Kiss of death, and if you can plan around it, don't move on Thursday because it's the worst day of traffic in the entire week. Used to be Friday, but it's definitely Thursday now. Okay, you want to, depending on, and it also depends on where you're going, and so you try to structure things differently. If I have, like right now, I just looked at one that's going to Dana Point. Well, I know it's going to take us 5 or 6 hours to load her. So there's no way in the world I would try to do that on one day and go down, because a legitimate mover is going to charge straight time for the first 8 hours, time and a half for the next 4, and double time for anything over that.
Right.
You don't want to work your movers 16, 17 hours a day.
No.
You don't want to have the customers 16, 17 hours a day because you're going to be burnt out,
right?
Not happy. And this goes double and triple when you're working with seniors. You have to be respectful of how long they can last.
Right, of course.
You want to try to, when we're working with seniors, they're usually smaller moves, but you want to try to get everything done in 4 hours because, you don't.
That short of a time.
Well, you don't want to give a 12-hour day or something like that.
Excuse me.
So you got to figure out where you're going to and have a strategy. A lot of times, for instance, my girl that I'm going to be moving to Dana Point, she's a personal friend. One of my Fisher ladies, we're going to load her up one day, then at 6 o'clock in the morning, the guys are going to get down to Dana Point before the traffic starts and unload, and then they'll come back in the window that's afternoon.
Got it.
And try not to caught in rush hour traffic. The industry standard is you have what's called a double drive. Okay, and this is for local moving, not for interstate. Interstate is different. Interstate is weight and mileage. Okay. For local moving, it's double drive. So it's the actual time of the job plus the time it takes you to get from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. Okay. For interstate, okay, you're basically weight and mileage. So what the guys will do is they will come through and they'll estimate how much weight you have. Typically, you should get it weighed unless you feel comfortable with what's going on. Although, if you get 3 or 4 estimates, you're going to get a bubble. You know what I'm saying? So you know where you are.
Right.
Things have changed a lot now. What they'll do is they'll make you pay. Well, they always make, in an interstate, they always make you pay before it gets off. With the certified check.
Really? Okay.
Well, they want to make sure they haven't traveled already across the country.
Right, of course.
The money's good. So what they'll do is you'll either put it on a credit card or they'll have you pay with a certified check before the guy starts unloading.
Got it.
We actually sometimes do that too when we've got big shipments going to Palm Springs or San Diego, just to make sure. And it also too is a confidence level. It's kind of interesting in that I kind of, I'm still kind of old school, trusting.
Yeah, right.
I have
believe in the honor of human beings,
and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Disappointing.
I'm pretty fortunate. I do between 350 and 400 moves a year. I don't really run into a whole lot of problems. Okay. I have another friend that runs a moving company, and just because he's ran into so many, what he does is even on a local move, he'll run the credit card for the amount of the job before the truck even goes out, just because he's been in so many bad situations. Yeah. And I just haven't got there yet. Yeah. I'm hoping.
Well, wait a minute, but you've been doing it since 1975. I mean, you probably have a pretty good, cross section of the people. I would think.
I've been working in the industry since 1975. I've had my company since 2000.
Right.
And it's all about reading people. But you got to remember too, when you're coming in there, you do an estimate. Sometimes they're on their best behavior.
Yeah. True. Right.
So you gotta. It's really important you get a feel for your mover and your mover gets a feel for you. Yeah. I mean, I occasionally have people where I just say, I don't think we can work, and I'd rather do that than seeing something, because I have a firm belief that if I'm talking to a person and I'm giving them an estimate and it's not working out with me, well, I know they're not going to treat my guys well.
Yeah, true.
And that's important to me. I was in a lot of situations at Beacons where the customer just abused and and what they used to do with me at Beacons, because I was the guy that used to always be able to turn it around. That was what I was known for.
You kind of diffuse the situation.
I was that guy, and so they would say, Ted's got to go do this job because this customer's a problem. I try to teach my guys that. My guys are very good. That is something that has to be learned.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with people that are difficult time.
Yeah.
You got to be as compassionate as you can.
Right.
But compassion has a point.
Sure. Right. Hold on one second. I wanted to say that before we started chatting, you said something very interesting about that the end of the month is usually the most busy.
Premium
and I really
time.
want to get into that.
Premium time for a mover is from the 23rd to the 4th of the month.
Wow.
So if you're and believe it or not, when you get into that period of time, you got more people moving their trucks to put them on here in LA. Okay. If you have a weekend that falls on the 30th, 31st, 1st, or 15th,
that's the busy time.
Prime time.
Right.
So what you want to do is you want to get ahead of the 8 ball. You want to try to set up your crew. That way you get the crew you want, not the crew you have to settle for.
Right.
Because what will happen is the good people get sucked up.
Right.
I mean, I'm a smaller vendor. I run 2 to 3 crews a day when I'm busy.
Yeah. And you were saying that like the ones that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you were kind of saying that the ones that are maybe not so reputable and all that, literally look on their board and say, well, we're going to take those and those are the ones that are going to hang.
Well, what they'll do is they'll do what's called cherry picking.
Yeah.
And tomorrow will be a perfect example of it. Tomorrow is what, the 29th?
Yeah.
Okay.
28th.
28th, something like that. Well, it's the end of the month. This is Saturday at the end of the month.
Right.
Okay. And what'll happen is say they'll book 10 moves, but they only have the ability to do 4. Wow. They're going to pick the best ones. I will get 4 or 5 phone calls tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock saying my moving crew didn't show up.
That is despicable. That's crazy. I didn't even think that was even a thing.
And this is what I get to deal with every time.
Oh no, because when you are
reputable,
reputable, then it flows down to you.
You're subject to, I can't tell you if I get 10 phone calls, 8 or 9 of them start with, the last month moving company ripped me off.
Yeah.
And you listen to the story and you try to diffuse that, and then you try to find out why. Where did the service failure come?
Right.
Was it a bonehead operator? Was it something they did?
Right.
I mean, if you're moving, get ready and move. Don't call up the company and say, okay, we'll figure it out when they get to the front door.
Wow.
That's the kiss of death. It's all about planning. I know nobody wants to move. I know that we're all busy.
Yeah.
But if you're ready to go, it's going to be a lot better experience.
Right.
And what I was also getting to before is make sure you're hydrated and fed.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that on your website, which I thought was really kind of something I didn't even. But it makes sense.
I mean, with my guys, what I do with my guys, and this has been, Beacon's never used to do it. I don't know any other companies do it, but I send my guys out with water, Red Bull, and Gatorade. Okay?
Really?
And that's also then offered to the customers when they know you forgot your water. And you're starting to look a little.
Yeah, you're looking a little peaked. You might want to.
You're looking like you've been moving the furniture on the trucks because we do. You guys watching us will make you tired.
Right.
But you should,
like we talked about, they're probably staying up until 4 or 5 the night before, and they just completely neglect themselves, and they're not getting. You have to be hydrated. You have to have food, so you can get through the rest of the move.
Because you're focused on something else, you're forgetting about yourself.
Yes.
And you need to remember about yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You need to eat before the guys get there. You need to be drinking water through the move. You need to take a lunch.
Right.
And that way too, because I hate to say it, it's all about sugar levels.
Yeah.
Your sugar level starts going down, you're not going to be a happy
Absolutely.
camper.
And I'm horrible with that about that. Just ask my wife. She's like, you need to go eat because you are bugging the hell out of me.
My guys look at me because sometimes I'll go out on a job and I'll be working with them. They're going,
Ted, it's time.
It's time. It's time. You're getting cranky.
Ron, you had something?
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about just setting, planning and expectations, right? And flexibility.
Absolutely.
So, Tom and I, so Tom's a realtor, I'm a lender, our job, if we have a 30-day escrow, our job is to close it on time or before, right? But there's things that get out of our control that we can't do anything about it, right? So if there's something wrong with the appraisal, if there's something wrong with the inspection, if the borrower isn't sending us documents on a timely basis, these are all things that can delay the closing. And it's much easier as we get closer and closer and closer and closer, where it's like a funnel where things come down, where we get a much closer window of time of when things are actually going to close. But I think it's what I'm curious about is from a mover's perspective. When you have somebody that says, okay, we're going to be closing on Friday, movers come on Saturday. well, what if we don't close on Saturday and we actually end up closing on Monday and you need to come out on Tuesday, right? So that's one aspect of it. But also, you know, as the people listening, if you are planning on closing on a home, don't go on vacation the next week. Like, don't plan on. I've had borrowers go to France and go all over the world because they were so excited and they were gonna, you know, have the move. And
I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, don't do these things, right? So don't plan the business trip if you can. Like, I understand people have lives, but you know, if you can, just have this barrier of flexibility, just knowing that when we close on a particular property, it's not a it's not, you're not taking off on a flight. It's not a specific time.
This is something that, if you got a flight planned, make sure it's the next day or 2 days later. But this is a good point, and definitely because you guys would be great people to bring this up with. Recently, just had a job the other day. Okay, the guy called me at 4:30 and said the loan didn't go through.
Oh boy.
Okay, now what this does to me, I've got money in the bank. I don't have a problem. All right, but my guys are on the trucks don't. A lot of times what I do with my guys, I allow them to work for other companies. But at 4:30, they are not going to be able to go to another company to find work. As a lender, and if you give us a couple days notice, that's great. But if you call us up the night before, I mean, it more shoots my guys in the foot. Another thing that I've seen in this last run of real estate that I've never seen before is, the realtors used to always do an escrow plus 2 or 3 days. I've actually seen some realtors just no days. And that was the oddest thing. And it's been in the last run of escrow. You want to have the days for the flexibility. Now, also, too, when getting it back into the end of the month, you know what? As a mover, my job, because that's the time when we make most of our revenue, is to be booked solid. You're going to have a limited ability to shift around. You're not going to be able to jump a couple days. I want your move. I'm going to do whatever I can. And you know what I do is I network with other guys that are reputable. So it's like, if I can't do it, it's like, I'll go to my buddy Mike. Mike, can you do it? I'll go to
That's great.
I'm a little bit different in this industry in that I haven't burned any bridges.
That's
so I've got
good.
a lot of places I can go to.
That's great.
And we'll try to get, it won't be my crew. I feel special about my crew. My guys are good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get somebody under you, and hopefully they can do it. But we do get into situations where there's just more people moving than trucks.
Yeah.
And I hear these people all the time. The funny phone call. Oh, you know what? I'm comparing your price next to 2 guys that I'm going to pick up at U-Haul and all this. And I'm going it's like, okay, so you got 2 guys you don't know. You're going to rent a U-Haul. You got an extra hour, and how much money are you really saving?
Yeah.
And how well do you need to load furniture? And think about this too. You hurt yourself on the truck. Who's going to go to work next week?
Right.
Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I think having as much, being able to be as nimble as possible and because your job is all about contingency plans.
Well, I think the revelation there,
it is.
There are things that are out of your control.
The
and in the past, it used to be that, if you had enough of that documentation, it was good enough, right? And you were able to fund. But now everything has to be perfect.
Right.
Everything has to be complete before the closer is going to be able to issue that clear.
And it only takes one person in those dominoes.
That's right.
Everything. These deals are dominoes. There's 20 deals going down, not just one, not just 2, and it could be something that's completely out of everybody else's control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit, because we're kind of pulling into the airport here. We're circling the runway. So in terms of specifics, like very specific, helpful things in terms of like, how do I pack dishware? How do I pack?
Good.
Like little tips that you've gained over the years that you've been doing this.
When you're packing dishware, glass, china, anything like that, you always want to pack it on edge. In other words, if you want to have a cup, you want to pack it as it stands, not on its side.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with the wine glass, because you've got more strength from stem to stern.
Got it.
Plates, the same thing. What you're going to do, and I'm very old school. You see all the bubble wrap and all that crap.
Yeah.
It's like. I use, you can get packing paper. It's unprinted newsprint. It's in 30-pound bales. When you open it up, it's like a 3-foot square. You do not want to use the newspaper, which nobody really has a newspaper anymore.
Right.
The reason why is on a glass or on porcelain, it will print because it hasn't cured.
Anything comes right
pores.
off. Right?
Yeah, I've actually seen great pictures of the Star Spangled Banner printed across a white plate.
That's fine.
And I say this to a lot of people, and they'll tell me, I go, you don't want to do it, and they'll go ahead and they'll do it. And after they've washed their dishes in the dishwasher 5 times, they realize they got to get out with a Brillo pad.
Yeah.
You want to be responsible with the size of boxes you pack. Okay, movers are not animals. Okay, and I actually lost a guy about 4 years ago to a hernia.
Oh, you did?
Because I had somebody that was putting 4.5, which is a carton that is designed for clothing, stuff that's light. Basically, the rule of thumb is if you got books and canned goods, they go in book cartons.
Right.
The next size up is mediums. You do not want to put books in a medium because that's a 150-pound carton. You do not want to put the ones in the 4.5 because that's a 200-pound plus carton.
Wow.
This guy's just a very dedicated worker, and he slammed it out. And next thing you know, he calls me up and he goes, "I'm hurt." And he'd been with me for 8 years.
Man.
But you want to be, a good rule of thumb. You know what? If you're moving it and it's not moving, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
Movers are not animals. Plan ahead. Just that's the biggest thing is planning ahead. You know when you're going to move. Get your guys out there. Get your estimates. Communicate with your mover. What'll happen when the guys get to your front door? Get to know your guys. They'll walk through the house. They'll start loading stuff. My guys are trained to ask, "Hey, what's the most important thing in your house?" Tell them. Think about that. Think if it's a TV set. If it's a guy, he's going to say, "Hey, it's my TV set, man. Do not jack my TV set."
Yeah, right.
If it's a woman, it could be something else. It could be a figurine or something like that.
Right.
But if you let the guys know, they're going to go to the whole crew and go, "We got to take care of this."
Right.
I mean, we're there to take care of everything.
Yeah.
But if there's something that needs special care, and ask them. Ask it. You got a guy over there. Hey, how are you going to handle this?
Yeah.
There's things one of the things I ask when I'm there is first thing I ask is like, "What are your floors like?" Okay.
Right.
We do things. We put this thing as it's like a wetsuit material on the floors. The runners that are made out of neoprene. Okay. If you got white carpets, God, the white carpets.
Yeah.
Glad you got colors on your wall. Your carpets are white. Well, we have a thing called Carpet Guard, and you put that on. The more information the mover has, the
Right.
better he can do that. And pay attention. Look to see if he's conveying. Look to see if he's writing stuff down. Look to see if he's taking notes. Remind him. You should also be keeping a pad while you're interviewing the mover too, because you want to go over things. And don't, we're in a world right now where we have so much information going on. What did they say? You forget half of what you hear each day?
Yeah.
By day.
I believe it's probably more than that, actually.
Remind them.
Yeah.
Go, hey, we talked about this. We talked about that. I keep notes. A good estimator is going to keep notes. I mean, my company's a little bit different in the fact that, I do everything else. In other words, so you're not going through sales and dispatcher and all that. You're not going to have that with the other companies. We're more personalized, bigger companies. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with bigger companies, but make sure you know who you're talking to all the way through.
Got it. Ron, and then I got to...
Sure. So, I'm thinking of insurance,
Yes.
right? So I'm thinking of person, number one. So someone on your crew gets hurt inside someone's home. And then the other would be, let's say there's maybe not a family heirloom, but something of value gets damaged during the moving process. And it turns out that it could be an accident or it could be negligence. How is that handled?
Okay. The first thing, if an employee gets, what you want to be doing is when you're checking your insurance companies out, go to the PUC, find out if you can go to the PUC, look up the company, you can see if they have their insurances intact. They have a copy of that, okay? Just like your driver's license, we have to submit it to them. So that's covered by workers' comp, okay? And in situation of a claim of cargo, okay, what happens is we give you 60 cents per pound per article for free. Now, it's been that since before I've been in the industry. We do have lobbies. That's what it is. We have additional types of insurance we can sell to you. One's called depreciated, which is kind of funny. I've written that twice in 17 years, so I can't even figure it out now if I had to. Another is what's called a full replacement valuation. Okay, and that's the term they use is valuation. The way this is calibrated is by so many dollars per pound. And then what they'll do is they do premiums with deductibles. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is, a lot of the insurance companies cover you for moving. So call up that homeowners that you mail a check to all the time and go, "Hey, am I covered or not?" There's a few that don't, but find out.
Right.
I don't push a whole lot of insurance because I don't have the extra person to administrate it.
Right.
Because as soon as you sell something, somebody wants.
Are you an insurance salesman or are you a mover? Right. I mean, it's
there's a lot of money to be made in
Sure.
insurance because I've had to turn in 2 claims in 17 years. Some of my guys are very good.
right.
But the second you start charging for the insurance, somebody's going to want something out of it, whether something happens or not.
Right.
Okay, and so that means that's another job for me to do.
Got it.
You know.
Right.
I'm already wearing so many hats. Oh
Right.
my God.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing in what it takes before the truck rolls up to your place.
Sure. And
There's a
people
lot of
don't
things
take that
going
into
on.
consideration at
No,
all.
There's a lot going on. I mean, it just
They literally think that magically there's a truck and 2 guys on it.
because it appears.
Yeah.
Because it appears.
Right.
And there's a lot going on.
It's the same by the way, for real estate agents
Sure.
too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the people are like, oh, you guys get X dollars and all that kind of thing. If you knew how many hours I work a day just to make sure that everything, everything clicks into place in exactly the same time, and I've got, I have my own marketing and my own,
Yeah.
E&O insurance and stuff like that, and it's like. At some point, I'm almost minimum waging it. You know what I mean? It's not quite, but it's not. You know what I'm saying, though. It's just like
The joke is you're the guy that gets paid very little, drinks a whole lot of coffee.
right.
Because you're putting in so many hours.
Yep.
But see, you do that because you're dedicated to what you
Right.
do and you love it.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, if you didn't love it, you wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what? All of us could work for somebody else here. We could be the person that put the key in that door and walks away and gets a vacation, but we've chosen not to.
Right.
You know, and that's a whole. Not everybody has that mentality. You know.
That's right. Now, I before we go, I did want to touch bases about. I'm a certified senior real estate specialist.
Sure.
So when you mention the senior aspect of this whole thing, other than keeping it down to 4 hours, is there anything else that you have to kind of?
The senior move is a whole different entity. It's a
Yeah.
whole different element, whole different mentality. As a matter of fact, I have to tone my guys down to train them how to do this because you're running at a different speed. You're more compassionate. You're finding out what people need. You're reading more stuff that's going on. You want to be careful of hours. You want to
Yes.
be careful of needs.
Yeah.
You can do something where you can go in and, I mean, if they've got a lot of packing, you pack them up the day before, but you do not want a 12-hour day.
Right. They just can't handle it.
They can't handle it.
Yeah.
And just like the person running out of food,
Yeah.
running out of sugar or whatever you
Right.
call it, they will hit a bottom, and once they hit that bottom, everybody's in a world of hurt.
Right.
So and the other thing I want to point about this is very important. A lot of times these situations that the seniors have several kids involved.
Yeah. Right.
One point of contact.
Oh, that's a good idea.
One
Yeah.
point of contact. I do
Right.
not want Tommy and Jody and
Yeah.
it's like this. It's like, can you imagine if I had 400 families with 400 kids calling me?
Yeah.
And the confusion that's created? If you're just dealing with one individual, that's the smart way to do it. Mom and whoever, if somebody, there's always, everybody has a different post in the family.
Right.
And what's kind of funny, say you got 4 kids and you got 2 that don't want to do anything and 2 that are kind of taking care of it, and all of a sudden that one that doesn't want to, well, I need to get involved.
Now I'm starting to nose in. Yeah, absolutely.
Just try to deal with one.
Yes.
Try to again. It's they're moving into a smaller situation. Go through the house and find out what they really love, what they really want to take with them.
Right.
And take that with them because that's what's going to make them comfortable in their new home.
Right.
I've done everything from, smooth transitions to situations where they take the parents out to lunch and they're living in their new place.
Oh,
Because they're,
Wow. Yeah.
and we've had situations where, believe it or not, where dad went nuts.
Really?
I don't want to be here.
Oh my God. And you have to be so sensitive to those kind of experiences.
It's kind of funny. One of my old foremen were with me, and the only thing he could sit there, he goes, I see you got this zillion-year-old bottle of scotch. How about if we just have a hit of this?
Let's just crack it open.
And it just, in my business, you got to be willing to do what it takes.
Wow.
Okay. And the other thing too, big thing. We're there to help you. Be the mover's friend.
Right.
I mean, we want to be the customer's friend. Nobody wants an adversary situation.
Right.
We're there to help you. And if everybody's respectful and everything's going to go great. The guys are in this business because they want to help. It's not, they got to pay their bills, but it's really kind of funny when you're in this business for a little while, it changes it changes rather than, some guys are just going to that job, just, serving time.
Yeah.
My guys, after a while, they start seeing, we're helping people.
And they see the patterns, they probably see because they've been there enough, and they kind of see how they can deal with those situations as they come up.
Yeah, they read a lot into it, and then all of a sudden, what's really funny is they'll go, I get people to call up, after the move, and someone go, yeah, so and so moved me. They said to use Robert. They said to say San Francisco. Said this is the guy. I got to have this guy. And what's interesting, I don't just get that about one individual in my organization. I get it about all of them.
No, that's great.
And that to me is very rewarding because it means I'm putting something out the door that's appreciated.
That's great.
And that's the other thing is appreciate your mover.
Yeah.
They work real hard with you. We do accept tips, but when I say that, tipping is appreciated, not expected.
Okay.
Okay. It's kind of interesting because people ask me about this all the time. And when I'm talking to them, I'm going, you go out to a restaurant for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and
yeah, they're not lugging crap around for hours.
They're not kissing your butt for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
think about that.
Right.
But like I say, it's always appreciated, never expected.
Got it.
Great.
And just to wrap this up, just to kind of wrap it up on a lighter note, I want to hear what the craziest thing you ever moved was. The single most crazy thing where you went, holy, how am I even going to do that?
So many different things. In 42 years, and again, this is what I love about it because every day is different.
Yeah, right.
I have this client, and actually, it's my oldest client. It was actually my father-in-law. And that's actually how I met my wife.
Oh, wow.
Fact,
okay.
Was on our divorce move, but
Wait, whoa.
Oh, this
Back
is
up,
great.
everybody.
This is
Hold on a
great.
second
This
now.
is great. This is great.
Hold on now. I think we buried the lead here. So wait a minute. So you found your wife through a divorce move?
Okay. This is that.
Whoa.
This is an entertaining story.
I know that before you even said anything. Go ahead.
It was a Saturday. I was all hungover. And I went to do this divorce move down in Encino.
Wow.
And the mother and father were splitting up, and the daughter was going, we went into this room, and it looked like the room of a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, had Rod Stewart on the wall.
Right.
I'm sitting there going, okay. So we're loading all this stuff up, and all of a sudden he calls up Melissa, my wife.
Okay.
And goes, put some cute clothes on, some tight pants, get over here.
Really?
She came over, we hit it off right away. He had to actually send her away because we hit it off so well.
So she wasn't one of the ones getting divorced.
No, it was her father.
It was a child.
Jeez, I'm like, dude, this guy's working it really.
No, and that happens too.
Wow.
That happens in our business too.
Wow.
But so anyway, we got to the end of the move, and he had sent her away, and I walked up and I go, hey, can I get your daughter's phone number? He goes, here, I already got it written out.
Wow.
And he actually pushed her down the aisle towards me as well.
That's hysterical.
But more interesting about this fact is Marvin was the reason I opened my own company.
Really?
Marvin came to me. It's the number 2 accounting firm in the Valley. And when they renew leases, what they do is you usually have to carpet and paint and do all that every 5 years.
Right.
And he comes up to me and he goes, you're doing it. I go, what? He goes, you're doing it. And we had been doing little moves on the side.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And so I went in and I did this. It was like a 3-floor office move. Didn't know how I was going to do it, but I figured it out and put together stuff. And I was still working for Beacons at the time. And so we were doing this at night. Still didn't know how I was going to find the time to manage it all.
Wow.
And the day before the move was going to take place, I broke my foot.
Oh, no. Wow.
Interestingly, how that happened, because now I had plenty of time to manage the move.
Sure.
And that was my first
Well, there
big
you go,
move.
right?
That was my first big move, and he pushed me and got me through it. And it's like, it made me realize, it's like, yeah, I can do this.
Wow.
I can do this.
That's great.
Yeah.
But what was the craziest thing that you said that there was?
Oh, let's get to that sidetrack.
Yeah.
He had a business partner that used to travel all over the world.
Okay.
And he used to always bring back all this crazy stuff, just crazy shit.
Right.
He goes, I get this call. It's like, Ted, I got this great big porcelain Chinese statue, and you see them
Like a
all
Buddha
over.
or something.
It's not a Buddha, but it's like the clay soldiers.
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
Japan.
right.
Terracotta.
Terracotta.
Exactly. And so this thing's in a great big crate, and I start pulling it apart, and I swear to God, it smelled like every camel peed on this thing.
Oh my Lord.
And as we pull it apart and out of the crate, the thing started to disintegrate.
Oh no, no.
But we've seen a lot of things. I've actually, we moved, when I was with Beacons, we moved Liberace to Palm Springs.
Oh wow.
Moved like 7 grand pianos.
Oh wow.
Of all different types and spaces.
There you go.
I recently did a move of a guy out of one of Clark Gable's old estates. You see a lot of different things. I mean, there's so many stories. It's kind of interesting. You would think you'd be able to have a good movie written on moving.
Right.
There's been 3 attempts and they've
And
all
it's been terrible.
really bad.
Right.
So we know we're not going to pitch that show.
Yeah, got it.
But it's the stories are never ending, and it's it's really funny when you get together with a bunch of guys who've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember years ago at Beacons, we get done and sit in the yard, drink beers, and the stories would just go. What was in your day?
Stuff.
What was in your day? What was in your day? Oh, I got a job coming up tomorrow, and it's down on Venice Beach, and the elevator's out.
Oh no!
And these guys are carrying down like 5 flights of stairs.
Oh man!
Yeah.
So that's going to be a story.
They're gonna have some tired guys. They're gonna earn their money heavy.
Absolutely. Well, Ted, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
This has been so informative and so enjoyable. Now, why don't you go ahead and give everybody the information for your company, and so that they know how to get in touch with you.
We are based in the San Fernando Valley, but we do go almost anywhere to work. Name of the company is Inside Moves Relocation Service Incorporated. Our website is InsideMoves123.com, and I can be reached at any time, 818-515-0158. And like I say, I'm a great source for information. Be help you go through the situation. I know it's tough, but we're there for you. We'll do a good job for you. Give us the opportunity. And even if you don't use me, take care of your movers. Take care of your movers. It's the golden rule. Treat them the way you want to be treated.
Ted, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, that's about it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them for us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Clarified Realty Podcast, all one word. If you have any questions about real estate or you're looking for someone to help you buy or sell a home, remember, I'm actually a licensed real estate agent. I'd love to help you out, so please email me directly at tom@clarifiedrealty.com or give me a call at 818-335-7662. Don't be shy. Come on, guys, give me a ring. For more exclusive bonus content and advice between episodes, please check out our website, www.clarifiedrealty.com. Also on our homepage, you'll find links to helpful buyer and seller guides that can give you some really great information for starting your home buying or home seller process, so definitely check those out. Here's a new thing, and we've been talking about this, and we're really proud of it. We actually have an Alexa skill. So search the Alexa store for the Clarified Realty Podcast, add our skill to your daily briefing, and get a dose of real estate news and tips every day of the year, every single day. Definitely give it a try. It's pretty cool. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My handle for all 3 of those are @ClarifiedRealty. So please leave feedback and reviews on iTunes too, or in the comment section on our page. Together we're stronger, so if you have any questions or ways that we can make this podcast even better, please let us know. My amazing theme song, Hey Now, is from the band Wolf. That's Wolf with 2 Fs. And please go check them out and like them on SoundCloud. They rock so freaking hard, you better not listen to them the night before you move, because no way you're getting up in time for those movers in the morning. And just a little disclaimer, I'm licensed by the California, hold on a second, I'm a little confused here. And just a little disclaimer, I was so proud of that in line, the way I delivered it. Ron, did you like it?
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Very nice.
A little pat on my back.
Yes.
And just a little disclaimer, I'm licensed by the California Bureau of Real Estate. My license number is 01715353. Ron's is?
Guaranteed rate, NMLS 2611, NMLS ID 558706, California and Texas.
The advice we give is only for properties located in the state of California. Ron.
But I can do loans in all 50 states.
I know. For all of the states, please contact your local real estate agent or real estate professional. Well, that's about it. Ron, you all good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. And remember, the greatest thing you can ever do is make someone feel at home. Take care. We'll see you next week.
What you gonna do with your